In the silent corridors of power, where science meets secrecy, one man changed the fate of nations, and few ever knew his name. Welcome to the Digital Sleuth. Before we dive into this digital autopsy, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it there? Because what you are about to hear isn't just a history lesson, it is the moment the world's balance of power shifted forever. If you are ready to uncover the truth, stay with us as we decrypt the past. Klaus Fuchs was not a soldier. He wasn't a hacker in the modern sense. He didn't have a laptop or a VPN. But make no mistake, Klaus Fuchs was the world's first high-stakes data thief. Today, we would call this a cybercrime documentary if the internet had existed in 1945. He used the most powerful processor ever created, the human brain, to bypass the physical firewalls of the most secure facility on Earth. Born in Germany in 1911. Fuchs was a brilliant physicist who fled the Nazi regime. He was a man of quiet conviction and socialist ideals who rose through the academic ranks in Britain. His demeanor was so calm it was almost invisible. But behind that quiet face was a dangerous belief that science should never serve a single nation's dominance. That belief would lead him to betray the Manhattan Project, the ultimate admin password to the survival of the human race. During World War II, the Manhattan Project was the most guarded secret in human history. It was a closed network. No one got in or out without a top-secret clearance. Scientists at Los Alamos were racing against the Axis powers to build the atomic bomb. Fuchs was an insider, the trusted user who turned out to be a malicious actor. While his colleagues were focused on the physics of the implosion lens, Fuchs was performing what we now call data exfiltration. But he didn't have a thumb drive. He used memory encryption. He had a photographic memory for mathematical formulas and could download coordinates and dimensions directly into his mind. He met his handlers in quiet parks and narrow streets. There were no encrypted Telegram chats back then, so he used dead drops and coded phrases. The analog version of a phishing link. He passed over the key to the Soviet Union, the structural designs for the plutonium bomb. As a result, the Soviet Union detonated their first atomic bomb years ahead of schedule. The American monopoly on nuclear power didn't end because of a breakthrough in Moscow. It ended because of a security breach in New Mexico. This is a pattern we see in every cybercrime documentary today. Whether it is the SolarWinds hack or the Colonial Pipeline attack, the most devastating breaches usually come from an exploit of trust. In the case of Fuchs, the exploit was his own brilliance. You might be thinking, that was 80 years ago. What does that have to do with my data? The answer is everything. The psychology of Klaus Fuchs, the insider threat, is the exact same motivation driving the most sophisticated dark web scams today. Fuchs believed he was leveling the playing field. Today, we see hacktivist groups and state-sponsored actors using that same logic to launch major phishing attacks. They target the weakest link in any system, the human element. Think about the social engineering used in the recent MGM and Caesars hacks. Attackers didn't use a brute force attack on the servers. They called the help desk, pretended to be an employee, and got a password reset. That is exactly what Fuchs did. He used his status as a calm, brilliant physicist to ensure no one ever looked in his briefcase or questioned his late-night notes. In the modern world, financial fraud mechanics have simply evolved. While Fuchs stole bomb designs, today's digital thieves are after your personally identifiable information. They use automated scripts to scan for zero-day vulnerabilities. These are flaws in software that the developers do not even know exist yet. Fuchs was a walking zero-day. He knew the flaws in the Manhattan Project's security protocols before the generals did. After the war, Fuchs moved to Harwell, the center of British nuclear research. He was indispensable, but the digital footprint, or, in his case, the paper trail, started to emerge. Western intelligence, through a project called VENONA, began decrypting Soviet cables. They found references to a spy code named REST, and the variables in the equation pointed to one man. When MI5 finally interrogated him in 1950, they didn't need to use enhanced techniques. They used his own logic against him. And Fuchs confessed with a strange, chilling calmness. He didn't do it for money. He wasn't a victim of a dark web scam or a blackmail plot. He did it for principle, which makes him the most dangerous kind of adversary. He served 9 years in a British prison before being released to East Germany, where he died in 1988. He was a hero in the East and the ultimate traitor in the West. His actions triggered the nuclear arms race, a 40-year standoff that brought us to the brink of extinction multiple times. His confession was a revelation of how ideology could seep into even the most logical of minds. Klaus Fuchs proved that the most dangerous weapon isn't a bomb. It is unauthorized access. Whether it is the 1,940 seconds or the 2,020 seconds, the rules of the shadow world remain the same. If we can learn anything from this cybercrime documentary, it is that we are all trusted users in our own digital ecosystems. Here is how you can prevent your own Manhattan Project from being breached. First, use zero-trust architecture. In the tech world, this means never trust and always verify. Never assume an email or text is legitimate just because it looks official. Second, enable multi-factor authentication. If Fuchs had been required to provide a biometric scan and a physical token to access those blueprints, history might look very different. Third, use encrypted communication. Fuchs used memory to hide his data, but you should use end-to-end encryption like Signal or Proton Mail to keep your data safe from attackers. Finally, audit your access. Periodically check which apps have access to your location, your microphone, and your contacts. Digital insider threats often hide in the permissions we forgot we granted. Klaus Fuchs changed history not with a gun, but with his mind. He was the man who sold the atomic bomb, believing he was saving the world. Whether he was a visionary or a traitor is a question that still divides historians. But one thing is certain. In the world of the digital sleuth, information is the only currency that matters. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the shadows of history and technology, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We have plenty more untold stories of the shadow world coming your way. Until next time, keep your data encrypted and your eyes open. I am the Digital Sleuth, signing off.